As I'm sure you guys are all aware, John Mayer performed an incredible, and I mean incredible, third show for his Rise for the River charity event benefiting Park County. It was just insane. He did Born and Raised acoustically front to back with Fool to Love You, which is probably one of my top 3 favorite songs off of that album. So it was awesome. We got the bonus track number 1. But the whole set was absolutely wild. Aaron Sterling was a surprise guest appearance for that performance. It was originally just supposed to be John and his guitar, but Aaron came in and man, having Aaron there just to add some space and dimension to the entire performance was just fantastic. The combination of those two just was perfect. So I'm going to today break down all of the gear John used for this incredible performance. Let's start off with the guitars. For the opening song, Queen of California, John takes out his Martin OM28JM and attempts to launch into the song a few times. The guitar is clearly giving him some difficulties. It sounds weak and just not as full as it should. And then John, in kind of a moment of comedy, bumps the jack and all of a sudden it really starts to squeal on him, and then he does this whole bit where he's messing around with the input jack and the guitar is kind of doing all sorts of crazy stuff, and then he swaps to the OMJM to actually perform Queen of California. So the OM28JM had a brief appearance and then was whisked off for obviously some sort of repair that needed being done to that jack.
We're still having some trouble. That sounds all right. Let's take a second. Let's take a second to get it right. Do we think it's my guitar? Oh, okay. I'll probably grab it. Oh, I can feel it. Wow. You listen to all that. The more I touch it, the more obnoxious it is. If I keep touching it, it keeps being obnoxious. That's how we can be sure this is the culprit. No, I think it's genuine. Now, this seems like it should be easy to take off my guitar, but watch it. And I've got to come up with increasingly clever things to say to kick off the first song. Okay. So if you're making an album out of this, start it right here. Hey Nugs, when you throw this back up, start it right here. Thank you.
Now, one of the most polarizing guitars for the entire evening was this beautiful cutaway Martin. And my friend Alejandro, who runs the John Mayer Gear Instagram page, helped me out with this one. And it's a 000 Martin Custom Shop 14 fret flamed Koa edition. And man, it's gorgeous. The guitar sounded absolutely incredible. And I've personally actually always wanted a guitar with Koa as part of the construction, especially mainly built with koa. Koa, for those of you who don't know, is an endemic species to the Hawaiian Islands, and Hawaii is just a very sentimental place to me personally, and I've always wanted a guitar that's made with koa. I've seen some Les Pauls done in koa and just different instruments, so to see a beautiful Martin acoustic like this done with koa was just really special, and I'm really into that guitar.
Love ain't a thing. Love is a verb.
John, of course, had to perform Walt Grace, and it wouldn't be Walt Grace without that national 12-string resonator.
This guitar only ever did one thing. I picked it up one day, and I went like this.
I honestly couldn't imagine the song performed with any other guitar. It's so unique, and it just fits perfectly. I was fortunate enough to actually see John perform this song live during the Sob Rock tour at the Forum night 1. And yeah, hearing that resonator is just, it's one hell of a sound. As far as guitars goes, lastly but certainly not least, we saw John use another one of his signature Martins, a D45JM signature, and just another incredibly great sounding acoustic guitar. I mean, it's fantastic.
That it takes a fool to love you. It takes a fool to love you. It takes a fool to love you. Oh, and I'm just a fool for you.
Moving on from the guitars, we're going to quickly dive into the pedal board, and for an acoustic set, John of course kept it extremely simple. It was a 3-pedal board with a Boss TU3, a Providence Chrono Delay, and a TC Electronics Ditto x4 edition. Now, the Ditto was the really incredible part of this pedal board. John is not someone who does loops very often at all. So to see him use a looper in kind of an Ed Sheeran style way where he was just doing all these crazy loops and performing solos over them was just awesome. I absolutely loved it. There was one point where John proves just how difficult looping is, and he missed his loop timing up and was like, ah, crap. And had to redo it again, and it just was hilarious to see him do that. And there's something about just an acoustic guitar with a looper and creating those loops and soloing over it with just a little bit of drums in the background. Those times John did it during the show were just really special, and just honestly, I loved it. I wish he'd do more of those, to be honest. As far as the rest of the gear we saw John using goes, his headphones were Audio-Technica ATH-M50Xs, and to see John wearing headphones is nothing unfamiliar at this point. With Dead & Company especially, he's pretty much used headphones consistently for the past year now. As far as why he's using headphones, John has stated that essentially he can be in the mix and in the music more with the way the headphones work and the way his specific rig is set up for the headphones. Plus, they give him added hearing protection, but at an acoustic show like this, that's just a non-concern. Now, I have to state here that John never uses amplifiers for his acoustic guitars. He always goes direct out, and the Avalon U5 is what he typically uses. It's pretty consistently been that device, and as far as I can see in the footage here, I didn't notice him using anything differently. It's possible, but that's just kind of what I'm leaning towards, especially the fact that he would go DI out. That's just a given. If you stuck along with me in this video at this point, I have a bit of a quick treat for you. Now, if you guys remember, John posted on his Instagram, I believe it was a while ago, that the clock artwork from the Born and Raised album actually was deliberate. There was a specific meaning behind it, and he was kind of trying to see if anyone could figure it out. And at the show, he unveiled what the clock actually means. And if you think of your average life expectancy as a 24-hour day, when he wrote Born and Raised, his life was at about 10:38, 10:36 in the morning. And that's kind of how he looked at that, and throwing that in is just kind of a thing to look back on and be like, all right, you know, when I wrote that album, my life, if it was a 24-hour day, it was 10:30, just after 10:30 in the morning. And the whole message and kind of theme of Born and Raised, I just thought that was really beautiful, to be quite honest. Just the fact that, you know, you listen to the subject matter in a lot of the songs, a song like If I Ever Get Around to Living, Shadow Days, just about life and where you are at that stage in time. It's really cool that John, being a fan of watches and the whole subject matter again of the album, the fact that he thought to put that in the artwork, something subtle that really only he ever knew for the most part, besides obviously a few people, I just thought was really awesome. The fact that he shared that with us was just really special, and that was a for sure highlight of the whole performance, just to get some insight behind the album artwork from John.
I think it's like 11:38 or something like that. Is it 10:38? What is it? It's 10:40 or something like that? 10:38. Yeah, it's 10:38. You have it right there on the, okay. So, all right, let me take it as a, I think this is worth the wait. So, that's right, it's 10:38. Why is it at 10:38? I have obsessed with my place in time. I'm always thinking about my place in life. If the average male life expectancy was a 24-hour day, then at the time I released this album, it was 10:38 a.m. in the entire day of my life. And now, as I stand here before you, it's about lunchtime. If you go home and figure out what time of day it is in your life, I promise you it will motivate you to get out there and live more life. You're like breakfast. You're at breakfast, babies. Stay where you are.
Overall, again, just what a performance by John. It was fantastic. Even watching it in my living room, it felt very intimate and it felt very special. Obviously, just with John and Aaron Sterling performing Born and Raised front to back and then a couple other hits as well. It was fantastic. You got a great performance and you got to donate to an incredible cause as well to help some natural disaster relief. So overall, a total win.
I see this as an absolute win.
I definitely am going on a massive Born and Raised kick right now. My appreciation for this album is at an all-time high, as I'm sure it is for a lot of you guys as well. You guys, thank you so much for watching this video. As always, we will see you on the next one.
Anyway, go ahead and click the subscribe button if you like what you see.